Is the Palestinian Authority going to unilaterally declare statehood?
You know, the Palestinian Authority is actually in a very tough position on unilateral declaration of statehood. Because basically, they committed themselves in the 1995 interim agreement that neither side will take any step that will change the status of the West Bank prior to the completion of permanent status negotiations. In other words, if there's a choice between a negotiated settlement and unilaterally changing the situation on the ground, unilateralism is not allowed by the Oslo agreements themselves. Now, why does that matter? Because if the Palestinian Authority violates Oslo, it doesn't violate a peripheral commitment, but violates a core commitment, then they are essentially in material breach of the Oslo agreements that were witnessed by the United States, the European Union, the Russians, the Norwegians, the Jordanians, and the Egyptians. And if they are in a material breach of a core commitment, they're basically violating international law. Now that means that they would be turning to the international community to give them rights by recognizing them as a state, rights that emanated from an illegal act, according to everybody who understands international law. That cannot stand. That cannot be allowed. U.S. law, in fact, states that if a international entity arises out of an illegal act, it cannot be recognized. The Palestinians are aware of that, and they are looking to international institutions to help them out.
What international institutions is the Palestinian Authority trying to use in order to carry out this effort?
Well, if they can't unilaterally declare a state without angering the United States because they're violating the Oslo agreements, without committing and basically a violation of international law, then what they are really hoping for is that international bodies will, without them being involved, state that the Palestinian Authority today constitutes a state. The first action the PA took was to turn to the International Criminal Court in January 2009 with a declaration that recognized the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court in what they called the territory of Palestine, undefined. But I think the whole action has to be understood because the PA invoked a clause in the Rome statute that created the International Criminal Court that's reserved just for states. In other words, for the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court to respond to the request of the PA to his office, the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court would have to say, yes, indeed, the PA constitutes a state. Here they would get statehood handed to them on a silver platter. The next move that they could make after the International Criminal Court is to turn to the General Assembly or the Security Council. They themselves don't have to do it. A friendly European country could turn to the Security Council with a draft resolution saying the Palestinian Authority today has the attributes of a state. Therefore, member states of the UN should recognize the existing state of Palestine. They could say, we didn't do this, the UN Security Council did this. And therefore they could basically do an end run and avert being charged with violating the Oslo agreements and violating international law.
Dr. Dore Gold, thank you very much.